Hi FlossTube, it's Lori McClary, textilist. Welcome to my channel. Hi FlossTubies, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel. This is a channel about cross stitch and quilting and crafting and scrapping and I've got a lot to share with you today. I'm not even quite sure where to begin, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of time, that we might have to break this up, and I will save some things for next video. So last video I had asked if you would be interested in seeing a quilt whip parade, and I don't think I have gotten as many comments on a video as I did on the last one, and it was a resounding yes. So I'm pretty excited to start bringing you a quilt whip parade. Hopefully it will kind of help me along in getting some of these finished. There will be a lot of these that I literally have not looked at in maybe a decade. So some of this is going to be just as much a surprise to me or and getting reacquainted as it is to you. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to start with some haul and happy mail before I get into my regular stitching, because I just got the most amazing things in the mail. I had ordered these weeks ago. They're handmade, and I am so excited to have finally received them. So the first one to see is right here. These little cabins are made by an Instagrammer. Her name is Shelly, and her Instagram channel is White Pine Cottages, and I'm going to put it down here so you can go visit and sign up for her Instagram. Besides making furniture and wonderful handmade things, she also reposts a lot of really pretty vintage and primitive looking decor, and she is my favorite channel, I think, by far, or my favorite Instagram by far. Not only does she post really great stuff, but she also reposts many of her favorites as well. So it's a great way to see a lot of what's out there if you don't know where to go to find Instagram accounts to follow. So this is one of them. This one is actually the Christmas one. I have a Christmas one and I have a fall one. These are all handmade by Shelly. This is a 2-chimney one, and they do come to where they come with a light to put in the background. One of the things I love about these cabins that Shelly makes is that they also are open on the bottom. And so what that means for me is that I can put things in here. So if I wanted to put a little mini quilt in the window, or if I want to use tea lights in a place where instead of the plug-in light, so I can put it in a place where I don't have a plug-in, that works really great. So when I got these, mine came with accessories. So as I mentioned, this is the Christmas one, and I'm going to set this down really quick and grab the accessories that came with this. So she does all of these. This came with this tree, and it came with a sign. I don't have it quite put together yet, but it came with this sign, Joy, that fits all the way down on the bottom, and then it hangs on the cabin. There's this little tree, and this little tree fits in a wood box, or I think that's what this is. So it fits in there, and then it also has a sign to hang on the cabin. And I will put a picture up here while I'm talking so you can see kind of what it looks like as it's displayed. So that was cabin number one. Now, I have been waiting to buy these. When she posts them, they go really, really fast, and you have to be quick on the draw to get one. And fortunately, recently she did take an order, so I ordered one of each ones that I wanted. So this is cabin number 1. This is the Christmas one. I'm just going to set that down there and excuse my reach. This is cabin number 2. And this one has the primitive paint coloring, and it has 1 chimney. And it came with, I'm just going to hold it up here real quick. It also has the space for the light. And it came with these accessories. I have a little broom. It came with a little bench out front. I'm going to put it together here so you can see. It came with the weeest of pumpkins. Oop, there goes one on the floor. So it came with this little bench and a tiny little watering can. This is to put in front of, I'm trying to put it here so you can see it, to put in front of the cabin. As I said, the broom. And then it has a harvest sign to hang on the cabin, and it also has a pumpkins for sale sign. And I just love these so much. I was so excited when I got the notification that they were in my mailbox. So I hopped in the car in my jammies, ran right down. My mailbox is, I don't know, 2.5 miles away from my house, and went and got those. So super excited. That was today's mail. So again, these are from Shelly at White Pine Cottages, and I will put it again down below here so you can go visit Shelly and give her some love and see all of the wonderful stuff she has on her Instagram account. The other thing that I received today, I'm just going to kind of stay with the haul, is I received a quilt kit that I ordered. I saw this online and I just fell in love with it. Now, I had bought some of this fabric a couple of weeks ago. I bought some fat quarters. I saw them in the quilt store and they were so pretty. I did not know what I wanted to do with it, but I did buy some of the fat quarters because they're just beautiful. But it's called Slow Stroll, and it's the patterns by Fancy That Design House, and they are also the fabric designers. This is the quilt. Now, I would say that I normally don't go in for quilts that are panels, although I'm going to show you probably next time. I do have a lot of panels, but this one really just spoke to me. I just loved it. The colors are beautiful. This is the panel, so it's an eggplant color. So it's bigger than it looks there. I think the quilt says it's 44 by 56. The kit came with the panels. So this is panel 1, panel 2. I believe this is for the binding. And then it comes with a layer cake. So this is representative of some of the other fabric that I bought that I just thought was gorgeous. And it was very reasonable. I can put the place that I purchased it from down below, but I did notice also that Fat Quarter Shop, they don't have it in yet, but it looks like they'll be getting it in as well. So that was part of my haul as well. And then also, since I visited with you, I'm going to have to figure out a place to put this. In the last couple weeks, I met with some friends of mine. We have a small group that we call ourselves the Three Sisters Stitch Co. And we are getting together once a month to do crafts and stitching. We also are, all of us are stitchers and quilters, except for one, but she's going to be a quilter, and do a craft together. So I'm really, I was just totally thrilled with what we did. This was actually inspired by Farm Girl, Michelle Farm Girl. She had a tutorial on her her channel, but then she also posted pictures on Instagram, and the person who was hosting it, this was the craft she chose for us to do. So this is mine. Me and one person did this kind of mocha color on ours, and then she also, I have stuff in here already, she also cut out for all of us. Let's see, that one's pretty full. Let me find one that's not quite as full. Well, this has buttons in it, but she also cut out paper for us to use to put in the bottom of all of the drawers. So that was our craft that we did for the day. I liked it so much that I wanted to do another one in another color. So I went and bought another one of these to do the shelving with. And these can be purchased at Hobby Lobby. They're in the wood pile. They're $19.99, and there is the sticker if you want to go look and get yourself one too, and then maybe sign up for Michelle's Patreon, and you can access that video that shows how to make those. So very cute. Had an excellent time putting that together. So that's part of what I did for the last couple weeks. I did not get as much stitching done as I had hoped to get done, but I did get a lot of stuff done. So for a long time now, I've been wanting to put up new storage shelving in my garage so that I can move a lot of like my holiday decor from my big shop where my long arm is into the garage, so it's more easily accessible, plus kind of, you know, tidy up the garage and make it more usable space. And so my son is here visiting in between school semesters, and I went and bought the shelving, he put it together for me, and he did a lot of the heavy lifting, and I've been getting that done. So that took up 3 or 4 days. That might have been stitching days, but it is stitching related in that freed up stuff in my big studio. So now I can start delving into all of the tubs of fabric that I have and starting to get that all sorted out. But I did get some done because I do go to Stitch Club every Tuesday, and I did work on some things. So the first thing that I worked on is Friends of the Heart. This is the stitch that I started for Leanne's Legacy. I'll put the hashtag down below. And this is where I'm at. The first motif I did, which is the center one here, it went really quick. And so did the top part of the pomegranate, but I hadn't filled in the other color stitches. I was waiting for an order of floss. But it's interesting, those leaves, and I think there's 3 pomegranates on here. Let me pull up the chart so you can see. It's not that large of a stitch, but it's pretty dense. So I didn't get as far as I thought I should have gotten on there, but I am just loving the stitch. The colors are spectacular. I'm doing it with called for colors, with the exception of, instead of black, I'm doing Blackbird, which is a classic Colorworks. I really like the brown black more than just the standard black. And it's either the called for overdyed or it's the called for fancy floss. So those are the flosses that I'm using. And did get some progress. I am really enjoying this stitch. I'll probably keep stitching on it. I don't know if I'll finish it by the end of fall, but I'm going to give it a good try. And it's being housed in this project bag, which has its own mini project bag as well. This is one of my favorite fabric lines, Kansas Troubles. So it goes in there. The other thing that I have been stitching on is my Grateful, Thankful, Blessed, which is Brenda Gervais. Oh, and by the way, that was Plum Street, Friends of the Heart. So the next one was Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. We always have to do the little tilty turn for Brenda's. And I am doing this on a 40 count hand die. I think it's a 40 count. It might be a 36. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I dyed this, and a long time ago since I started this. I'm doing this with the called for either DMC or Fancy Floss. And that is where I've gotten to. So I got the house started, I got the roof on, and I'm working my way down to the windows. And let's see, that's a better representation of the linen. So I did get a little bit more done on that. And that's being housed in my Grateful, Thankful, Blessed project bag. And then the next thing that I've been doing a lot of stitching on is this is Cheddar and Coal. This is a pattern that's really getting blown out here. That's not much better. It's more golden than it's showing there. This is a wool stitch, wool on calico stitch, and I have the bottom part here and most of the leaves. I think I have one leaf left, and I have this that I've stitched in the blanket stitch. I had all this side stitch with the called for pearl cotton that it called for, and it was blending in so much that I didn't like it. If I'm going to do all of that stitching, I want that stitching to show. So I pulled it all out and I changed it out for a variegated Valdani, which I'm liking much better. Depending on the lighting, you can maybe see the stitching a little bit better than normally. Maybe if I put it over here, you might see more of the color. Yes, that's a clear, better representation of the color than holding it up to the camera. So those are the things that I've been stitching on, and I'm going to go ahead and put a few things away so I can actually get to my stash of things here, and we'll get started with I have a few more projects to show you, and then we'll get started with the Quilt WIP Parade. Before I move on to a couple other projects that I worked on, I did think I would share a finish that I did last year. I'm definitely in the fall mood. I don't know if the rest of you are there, but I am totally there. We finally got a break in the weather here in Central Oregon. And even though I think we have one more 90-degree day, and we've had a lot of them this summer, we're starting to get the really cool nights, so definitely feeling the fall. This is Blackbird Designs Feast of Friendship. I finished it last year, early fall, and framed it, and super excited to be bringing it out. I love bringing out the previous finishes and things that you have done before, because it's just like visiting old friends. So that is a previous finish. And before I move on from the quilt kit that I showed you, here are the fat quarters that I had bought before I had found that kit, and that gives you kind of an idea of the colors, and they are very fall as well. I love these acorns. I just think they're adorable. And the colors, these colors are so pretty. The pattern reminds me of an old some old curtains that were in a vintage trailer that I used to have, and they kind of look like the bark cloth that was in the bark cloth curtains that were in there. I love that pattern. So really excited to probably put that together. It probably won't take more than a day. It's just some straight piecing with big panels. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't recall if I showed this last video or not. If I did, I'm showing it again real quick. I put this together for my son. He's a gamer. He likes to have his arms resting on something, and this is a large version of the pillow that I showed you before, that Anna Bates Quilt Roadies, Stitch Roadies. It's like a big biscornu. The only difference is that I cut the squares at 22 inches instead of the 15, and it took like 2.5 bags of stuffing to fill this. But he loves this. He said all his friends are going to be so jealous. And I did this in Zelda fabric, so he's pretty stoked, but I thought I would share that. So that was, you know, just a little bit of stitching. Probably took me 10 minutes to stitch, and then a couple hours to stuff. So that was another little project that I worked on. And then the last project I worked on, other than some more of my quilting, is this little doodad right here. So an Instagrammer called Linda, aka Van Mom, and I'm going to put it down here. She started a Patreon, and she's also going to be teaching some classes locally here in the Bend, Redmond, Sisters area. And this is just a little stand up. This sits on one of those plastic frames, like the 5x7 frame, and it slips over it. And that's what the project was to create, and I just dropped something, to create the plastic, or to create the fabric holder. She had seen this. My friend Barb had come, and Linda and our friend Katie came over to visit, and Barb had one of these, so Linda figured out how to make it, and now she's going to teach others how to make it. So it's just very handy to put in your supplies. This one is my prototype, where we were just learning how to put it together. It has a pocket here in front. It also has a pocket here in the back. And you can make these pockets whatever size you want. In fact, that one could go in the front and the other one could go in the back. I just happened to have it turned around. And this was nice just to put in a little bit of my journaling and a ruler. And then I put my clips on top here. And then these are my supplies to do the applique method. So it's the tweezers and the scissors and the two things in my glue, and then this is just a little pretty doodad. So I'm going to make several of these. I have a couple more frames that are this size. I have the same size of frame that sits this way, so you have more pocket room this direction, and then I have a great big 8.5 by 10 that I'm also going to make one with. So I'll share those as I move along, but this one was to learn the process of putting this together and figuring out what worked and what didn't work, and you know, how I might want the pockets. But so that was another project that I worked on since we last spoke. One more thing I wanted to share before I get into the WIP parade is, as I was pulling out my decor, I also pulled out this vintage needlecraft magazine that is from 1926, so it's 94 years old. Is that right? 96 years old. And I'm not going to do it today, but I thought we would spend a little time looking at some of the information that is in this needlecraft. Now, interestingly enough, this cute little girl, that is a pattern that is included in the needlecraft magazine. The pattern is to make this little twin set, or this little skirt, and the hat and the sweater, how to knit them, I believe. But I had originally purchased this. I think I bought it in Amana. I'm almost positive that's where I bought it. I'll have to go back and look. But I bought it at an antique store. I really loved it. I just wanted to get a frame and put it in the frame. But there's so much good stuff in this magazine. It's funny to read what was important and how things were looked at almost 100 years ago. So I'll bring it out next time, but I just wanted to show this to you. I still do plan on getting it framed and hanging it in one of my rooms because I thought it was so cute. I guess this is the official start of the Quilt WIP Parade, or QWIPS as I call them. I have been working on the Prim 9 patch. I showed that last time, and I had a bunch of blocks made, and I'm still working on blocks. As I mentioned, I'm making 2 of these, 2 twin size quilts, and the blocks are, I believe they finish 8 inches across, and here's the different ones that I have put together. I have many of the same blocks, the same color way. And I have several that I'm still working on. And then this is another 3 colorway that I will be doing. And then there's one more colorway that I have not cut out. So that's coming along well. Sometimes I just want to sit down and do some straight sewing, and they go pretty fast. It takes more time to iron them than it does to make them. So that is moving along. I also thought I would show you some of the quilts that you have seen recently that are part of my quilt parade. So I consider this a quilt, even though it's wool stitching, it will be quilted. To begin the parade, I thought I would bring out a couple of my finished fall quilts. This is one that I finished years ago. It's a Thimbleberries. And I did this probably in the 90s. It is still one of my all-time favorite quilts, and I wanted to show it before I hang it up on the wall this weekend. And another one, this is the very first quilt I quilted, and it was using a panel. And this is a Susan Wingate panel. I was told when I first started long arm quilting that the best thing to do is to get a panel and just to start trying to outline things. So that was really good advice. I've got a lot of curly cues. I have some meandering down here. I've got a lot of specialty. I guess they're not really specialty. I just have a lot of different types of quilting, practicing the stitches and outlining things. So again, one of my favorite quilts. It doesn't really fit my decor anymore. I'm probably going to hang this on my front door or on my studio door, but I just love this quilt. And it is, you know, September, so we're not quite into full-blown fall, although I feel like I should be. So I think the sunflowers go well. I've also showed this before as well. I think I finished this early in the year. This is a kit that I had purchased. It's a WIP because it's not quilted yet, but the top is finished, and this is pieced and also wool applique. I bought this kit at the Woolen Needle, and I've bought several kits at the Woolen Needle, but it's very pretty, and I cannot wait to get this quilted. Got some thread on there. Get this quilted and get it up on the wall. It's a very beautiful wall hanging. So that is another WIP. I have 2 WIPs here that one is finished piecing and one is not finished pieced. The first one, oops, let me get this off of here. The first one is a salt box house, and it needs a border, and I will be doing wool applique on it. And the next one is a wreath quilt. this is ready to be quilted, although I probably will do some wool applique on that as well. And this one I also showed recently. The reason it's still in my WIP pile is I've ordered some specialty batting for it, and it has not come. I hope it comes because I do want to have this quilted so I can give it to my daughter when I go visit her next month. So those are also in my WIP pile. Next up are a set of quilts that have been completed. The tops have been completed for quite a while, some of them many years, waiting to be quilted. And now that my long arm is set up, I'm hoping to get to some of them, particularly the ones that are seasonal, and hopefully get them done this year. I don't know that I will get them all done, but I'm going to start working on them. I keep getting squirreled by more beautiful quilt kits, but I'm going to give it a whirl. Also, I just wanted to mention, if this video seems very disjointed, it probably is. That's mostly due to about 4 hours of sleep last night, and I do not function well on very little sleep. So I apologize for that. But I really did want to get this video put up early this weekend. I've got some friends coming next week and some appointments, and my son is going to be leaving soon, so I wanted to spend as much time with him as I could. So just apologizing for how disjointed this is, but we're still going to have lots of fun looking at all of these WIPs, and I don't know that I'm going to get to all of them. I'm looking at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I'm looking at about 20 boxes, plus some things just kind of laying there. So we're going to try, though. I'm not quite sure how long this video is going to be. So without further ado, the next one I'm going to show you is one of my favorite quilts. It's a crabapple hill, and it's called Over the River and Through the Woods. And this is embroidered. It has 3 panels. It's getting a little blown out in the colors here. It says Over the River and Through the Woods. To Grandmother's House we go. And then there's another farm scene. So this is done in blacks, in dark greens, and harvest golds, and red. And I love, love, love this quilt. This one I'm going to do some custom quilting on, and I will be super excited when this is done and I can display this quilt. One of my very favorites that I've ever done. I love Crabapple Hill. Her designs are so cute. And then I just put my spin on it with my colors. The next one I'm going to show you is called Lately Arrived from London. It is another one of my favorite all-time quilts that I've pieced. And let's see if I can get, so that's half of the center medallion. And that's about half of the quilt, a quarter of the quilt there. It goes out here. Up until I finished my daughter's quilt, this was the most half square triangles I had ever done in a quilt. So everything I showed you is doubled. It's very beautiful fabric. I don't think you can find the line anymore. As I mentioned, most of these were pieced probably 10 years ago. And I'm sorry if I'm getting out of frame here. I'm just trying to get them up so you can see them. So hopefully my quilt thing will hold up under all of the weight. This is a Amish pattern. It's kind of a tabletop or wall hanging size. And this was a quilt challenge. And I love these type of quilts call for very simple quilting, so I'm really looking forward to working on this one. Not necessarily my colors, but I think it's beautiful. This one is a panel that I bought in Alaska. It's already sandwiched. I may do this on my domestic machine. This is by an artist, a very well-known artist in Alaska. The title of the print is called Waiting for the Fat Man, meaning Santa Claus. And that is all pieced and ready to be quilted. The next one is a quilt that I have done for my bed, and it's an oak leaf and reel. This is a Moda. I don't remember who the designer was, but the name of the fabric line was Oak Leaf and Reel. It's quite large. It's a queen size quilt, and this will be beautiful when it's done. So the border is the oak leaves, and then that block that you see there is called Oak Leaf and Reel. I love brown and red together. I also have this fabric in a darker colorway that I'm going to be doing like a table topper in. Now this is panel fabric, and the reason that I put this one together, first of all, I love the oak leaf and reel pattern, but this is one where instead of spending a lot of time piecing and appliquing that, I'm going to be doing some heavy custom quilting on that. So another one that I'm looking forward to working on. These kind of quilts, if you're going to be doing custom, here, let me give you kind of an idea of like the corner. If you're going to be doing a custom, these can spend weeks on the quilting frame doing a custom quilt. And the backing I have for that is this right here. So hopefully I haven't moved too far in and out of frame for you to see. From this point on, it's going to be mostly holding up blocks of quilts to show you. So oak leaf and reel, large quilt, and that's all for this little section. The next grouping of quilts that we're looking at fall into the category of quilts that I'm more or less currently working on. They include this quilt right here, which is, as I mentioned, it's called Cheddar and Coal, and that's because that's the fabric line that uses Cheddar and Coal, which is from Pam Buddha. And this is the pattern. You can purchase this pattern at the Woolen Needle. They do have it kitted in different colorways. This is, of course, the Cheddar and Coal, and it is the fall colorway. I purchased this in the spring. So this one I think I would like to get done this fall. I'm not going to be totally upset if I don't, but I do want to get it done. This will be the inner border, this will be the outer border, and this will be the binding. So inner border, everything's going to have strings on it. There we go. Inner border, outer border. I love this fabric, it's so pretty, and binding. So hoping to get that done. Basically all I have to do is finish all of the blanket stitching, put the borders on, which is will take very little time, and then of course quilt it, and I would like to have it up on the wall. The other one that I'm working on, it doesn't matter if I actually get it done or not, but again, I would like to, is another Woolen Needle, and it's also a wool applique. And this one is called Patchwork Garden, I believe. It's a much larger quilt. It's 52 by 70. I I have all of the stems and the applique pulled or cut out, and I've started stitching on it. I showed a little bit of it last week. So like the stars and some of the flowers are cut out, and they've already been blanket stitched, or at least the first layer. And then this is the background that these will go on. And this here is the strippy part. This is a Betsy Chutchin fabric. It's a Betsy Chutchin line, and that is the binding. And then using different Valdanis to do the stitching. So I have those housed with my cheddar and coal. I like to use these, I think they're really for scrapbooking, but they work beautifully for quilts because they are 12 by 12, and so your blocks will lay flat. And most all of my projects are in a container like this. So, and I label them. So as I put them away and pull them out, I know what's in there. With the exception of a few quilts, I can usually get at least one, if not two quilts in here. I have a couple of quilts that I'll show you that take up 2 containers because they're large. But these two and this one here that I'm getting ready to show you are the ones that are currently in progress. This one that I'm getting ready to show you will be in progress for a long, long time. I just do it as the urge strikes me. It's one of the quilts that I keep, or one of the projects that I keep in my car at all times, and I take it to Stitch Group with me. And there's a couple of patterns that I'm working on, but the one I'm working on specifically is the hexagon star quilt. I also bought this at the same woolen needle, but this is a Karen Styles pattern. I have a couple others in here. I have the little sister that's also called Seven Sisters. And in this box, I'll show you the box here, is just everything I need to do English paper piecing to do the stars. So sometimes when I'm at Stitch Group and I'm really too tired or my eyes are tired, I go and I make a lot of the pieces. These are the diamonds. I do use the glue method versus the basting method. I like that for doing English paper piecing. The jury is still out of whether I prefer doing the English paper piecing, which gives you very beautiful, I've got a needle in there, very beautiful perfect points and everything like that. It's very easy. Or whether I like just hand piecing it together, which this is not done with the paper. They both are about equal, the same amount of time to do it. Actually, this might be just hand piecing might be a little bit easier, but I'm really trying to give this a go. This one is in the wrong place. It's in the right place, it's just the wrong angle. So there's a star. I have these beautiful packages. These are called cigars. And these also came from the woolen needle. And it's a great place to shop. It's the place we go to when we go to Amana. It's in Williamsburg, Iowa. But it's just a wonderful shop. And I love how they package. These are a lot of Joe Morton mixed in with other fabrics that are similar. So Betsy Chutchin, there might even be some Kim Deal in there. I also have a couple packages of the neutrals. So these are specifically cut in sizes so that you get a huge variety of, let me do that so there's not a glare. There's a huge variety of fabrics when you're doing your paper piecing.
So this is just an ongoing project, no specific time frame. I'm not getting a star done in a day, obviously, but I just love having it there whenever I want. I have a lot of it with me. It's not a grab and go specifically, but it is all contained in this pretty box. So that is my current quilts that I am working on. I will be adding one to the mix. That's the one I just showed you earlier with the fabrics from this line, which is Slow Stroll. Yes, I think that's the name of it. That will be coming into the mix. And then anything else that strikes my fancy as we start to go through these boxes. And then we'll get back into the mini boxes of things that I haven't looked at in a very long time.